Hey guys, Thomas the Slow Genie here, aka Mustached. I'm here to review the movie A Quiet Place Part 2. If you end up enjoying this review, then please consider joining my Patreon page. Any donations are desperately needed, and I will remind you at the end of the review. And once again, enough with the shilling, let's get into the review. So, I guess I should re-evaluate A Quiet Place, since this is a sequel to that movie. So, A Quiet Place, when it initially came out, I thought it was actually pretty good. However, after giving it some thought and the events that take place in the movie, the best way I can set it up or explain it is the creature fascination with it being based off of sound. The idea is really interesting. However, and there are some times within the movie and its context where it executes that idea really well. However, there are also parts of that movie, in the first one, where it executes it very, very poorly. Like in the waterfall scene, it raises a lot of questions, or the scene where that guy randomly runs up to them and screams, ends up asking a lot more questions than the movie is prepared to answer. And in that regard, I would have probably lowered my score of A Quiet Place. I don't remember what I gave it. I probably move it to like a 5 out of 10. If I was under my new objective scale, of course. Not just considering how much enjoyment that I got, but how much it meets the standard of being a good horror movie and establishing these things and executing them all well instead of sometimes and all of that good stuff. So, when it came to A Quiet Place Part 2, when I initially saw it, I was like, oh, okay, I guess they're gonna continue this. Sure. And when I went through it, it was a lot easier to track these things under this new lens of being objective. It's really neat. So we're going to go through it right now. So the movie starts with a bit of a prequel. So this movie is like split between two sections, I guess is the best way to explain it. The first little portion that's pretty brief. It's like a few minutes or so. I don't remember how long it is, but point is, it is established as a sort of prequel. In it, we see the family as they were before these creatures even invaded. And it is discovered, spoiler alert, I guess this is going to be a spoiler review even though I gave it a proper amount of time, I believe, that the creatures come from space. They come from meteors from above. This was not explored to my knowledge in the first movie. And we kind of see the end result of a lot of this in the initial trailer. So that should be a strong indication about the movie after the fact. So, yes, the people are freaking out. There is a weird moment where the family, they get separated, right? And then the father and the daughter, the father being alive in the prequel spot, of course, head into the store, and he immediately hushes her, the daughter, insinuating that he somehow already knows how these creatures already function, even though I would figure that would take a lot of time, or take a little bit of time, except that he somehow knows and the room is quiet that they're in, and then the cell phone rings, and then the creature goes off and attacks the person, and the father and daughter have to escape. So we see this cop guy that the main dad knew from the first movie, shoot at one of the monsters. So we see, after that, I believe that's about where the movie catches us up to where we currently are, I think, if my notes are correct. Um, so, yes. So now they're in. We see where they were at the end of the movie. Their barn was destroyed, from what I can recall, which I don't believe that was attached to their house. I remember someone else mentioning this, that they probably could have stayed at their home, but they apparently were more interested in trying to find other people for whatever reason. Um, so as they're deciding this, and they actually decide, yeah, we're going to travel. So they come across this location where they see a potential for civilization and people that are still out there. They manage to trip an alarm, and barely a few minutes later, the boy falls into a bear trap. This is because when they were sneaking and set off the alarm, they decided to run away, even though the girl already possesses the thing that can defeat the monster. So I'm not really sure why their response was to run when they have the answer on them. So already, this is an example of something really stupid happening, and it's to set up this. It's this event is to set up the separation. It's to set up, that things are escalating, and it's done really poorly. I'm like thinking like, wow, that's kind of really dumb. So this an example of what I'm talking about. Again, they already have the device, and in fact, the daughter uses the device after the creature's there, and after the boy has already fallen into the bear trap. So, again, I'm not sure why she didn't have that out already, but again, um, so this man, who I don't remember his name because everyone's hushing and talking in sign language, so I don't remember catching his name. I wasn't paying too much attention, so I'll just call him the man. Sorry. Um, is there, and he lets them in, as the creatures are nearby still, or at least one of them are. And he claims that they can't stay, but apparently they know him. This is one of the characters from the flashback we saw. And the mother uses her child, the baby, the one on the poster there you see, as a bargaining chip. That's a little... I guess that's something that can happen, but okay. I think that's... I think it's... I'm not gonna say it's bad, but I'm not gonna say it's great. It's just there. Anyway, so again, they apparently know this guy from the flashback, like a family friend or something. And he claims that he has nothing left himself, and that the people of this world that are there are bad. And that does lead to, in what, again, something I had trouble in the first movie understanding was, to me this feels different from, say, a zombie apocalypse, like, where resources are limited in that way, in that functionality of, like, people are separated for X amount of time, and, like, making sound when you do it, in this context, it means you're putting yourself at risk. And again, when that man screams in the first movie, it's like, but why? Why would you do that to yourself, potentially? Even though you're potentially trying to harm others, you're also putting yourself in a lot of danger. It just doesn't... The steps aren't... It doesn't reach 100%, if that makes sense. Like, it feels like the first few steps are there, but then the end result is just like, I don't think that's what people would do. And again, this is another issue of like how much time has really gone by. I forget because I haven't watched the first movie since its release, so I don't remember uh, from that initial scene that we see of the child being taken, like from that point, or even in this prequel, how much time between then and what we are seeing now, how much time has passed, how much people have taken, quote unquote. It kind of skips over that step in the for the sake of this movie, which again it kind of makes it hard to see where this movie fits in terms of a timeline. That's the issue that I think that leaves, is that you really don't get a full understanding of when this is all taking place. Um, so again, I think they could have established it a bit more directly, uh, it, even in both movies together. So, anyways, so the brother and sister are inside. They're currently safe, and they're discussing uh, this new location that they heard this radio signal about. So it's on this island apparently, and the daughter, deciding that she wants to figure out what's going on, decides to head out first on her own. She's determined, and the mom um, wants the guy to go find her, but why? Why send him out? What? Why wouldn't you just go and catch up? I mean, you have your son who could have taken care of your child if he wasn't also dumb in this movie, but we'll get to that in a bit. Um, again, it just comes off as really, that one comes off even weirder to me, of like, why would you go ask this guy? I mean, I guess you do technically know him, but still, it seems a bit harsh, I guess, is the best phrase I can use in this instance. Anywho, we follow the girl, whose name I also don't know. Apparently, I don't know any of the characters' names, so I'll just refer to them as what I have on my notes, which is girl, boy, mom, and dad. Family unit is what I know them as. I don't know their names. Apologies. Um, so she's in this train, and she finds a first aid kit, which, again, resources. How have people not ransacked this place and other locations in this movie? A little bit odd that there would be supplies, but she makes some noise, so a creature appears. Um, Naturally. But what's unnatural is that the guy that was sent out manages to find her somehow. He somehow knew her location, which is baffling. Again, she kind of went off in a random direction, so I shrug at that one. I don't know. This is some Last of Us 2 teleporting shit right there. Anywho, so the wife is with the baby, and she's just sort of there, just chilling now. And the girl is alone very briefly, and then the guy like rejoins her after doing something. So now, the mom, feeling worried and panicked, reasonably so, she decides to head out. So like, okay, like now she's finally deciding to head out, which again, why would she send him out first? But whatever. So the son wants to also go too, but she's like, no, you got the bear trap. You're injured. We also have a baby to look after, so you look after the baby. So she decides to head out. Okay, so now we're getting a little bit of separation. Anywho, so while that's going on, the girl and the father, or the guy, friend guy, are passing through this bridge. And that's what they're doing currently. Meanwhile, the mom checks in where their initial child died from the first movie, and she's like mourning it, like I guess it's like a year or like an anniversary thing or whatever. Um, so moments later, after she does that, the son decides that, with a baby in hand, mind you, that he's also going to leave, leaving the baby alone in this facility by itself. What the actual fuck? This is the stupidest part of the movie, bar none. He heads out. I'm gonna. Because it keeps cutting back and forth between these two, so I apologize. I'm gonna get there. But just know it is the dumbest part in the movie, everything with the son. So the daughter and the guy head to the docks. They're just traveling, they're getting closer to this location. We cut back to the son, who keeps moving around. We cut to the mom, who grabs plenty of supplies, again, revamping the question of, what is this world? Like, how bad was it when these things attacked? What did people take? I don't know. So the son, we cut back to the son, who's now looking around in this area that he's in. Meanwhile, the guy and the girl check out some sus movement. They see a figure move in the distance, and it's not one of the creatures, so they're like, huh, what's that? So they see this smaller girl who tricks the guy into connecting a bell to him for some reason, and more people come out. So they have this whole setup. How they'd not catch these people earlier, I don't know. Anyway, so the son gets spooked by this noise that he makes, and he goes back to where the baby is, again, like an idiot. And he fully locks himself in. He doesn't... This is the first and only time this happens, because every other time when they close the thing to the safe, there's like this, towel, I guess I'll call it, or a rag of sorts, that prevents it from closing fully. And this time when they closes it, it's the only time in the movie where it closes fully. Like, the rag is somehow moved, and it's the only time where it happens. Because it happens after the fact, and the rag is back in place, and the thing doesn't fully close. So it's like, what the fuck? So the mom, after grabbing the supplies, is returning. And we cut back to the guy and the girl, and the people there are deciding to unclothe the girl for reasons. Again, this has really baffling implications, considering, regardless, I think they were trying to imply either they were going to rape her, question mark, or rob her, question mark. They never finish whatever they're attempting to do, but either option, or kill her, I'm not sure if they were planning on doing that either, because they already had the guy on the sound thing, so I don't know which of the three they were leaning towards. I would hope that it was the robbing, because that would make the most sense, question mark. But again, back to the world question, the world building. Who are these people? Why are they like this in this time? It still raises too many questions to me. So it's still pretty bad, but it's not as bad as the other two, which would indicate sound if you're trying to kill, or rape, which would also cause sound, which would also cause them to get attacked. So, again, I don't know if I can even give the movie the benefit of the doubt, because I'm not really sure what they were planning to do, so I don't know. So anyways, Mom gets back to help save the son. The guy and the guy creates some sort of distraction, and then the daughter leaves somehow, even though there's like, I don't know, like 7 to 10 guys that are in front of her, but she somehow manages to just leave the scene, and then he's like in the water at some point, and then she like has a boat and manages to save him. So that's a little bit baffling. I know, yeah, the creatures obviously do come and attack, and yeah, they can't swim apparently. Um, so that's a big question mark of like, oh, I guess people should have figured that one out at some point. Anywho, uh, they're on the boat. They leave toward the island, and they get to the island. It cuts to them on the island. Is the best way I can put it. They see this campsite, and the people there are extremely stupid. So get this: they're making sound. They're being all casual, as if nothing outside this island is taking place. They think they're totally fine. Um, However, they don't have the wherewithal to even remotely, um, take precaution, set up guards, um, and the guy that they're talking to, the black guy, is the best descriptor. Even though in the movie they call him the island guy, talks very briefly but very quietly, even though people are also making noise. So I don't know why they're just whatever. Um, so after their little conversation about where they're from and what they're trying to do and stuff like that, the man goes to the beach, um, and he's like, "Oh, going through stuff, right?" So he hears a noise, and he walks towards it, and he sees the boat. It's like moving, and then I guess he somehow sees a creature there? Question mark. I'm not really sure. The scene ends with him just running towards people and running to warn them that they're about to be attacked, and then they get attacked. Um, so yeah, that happens, and then uh, we see in the trailer the two dudes are together, and they see these two kids, and they hide the kids in the little closet, and they close the closet while these things are still um, attacking. So they get to the car. The black guy is driving, and he's beeping the horn. The other guy doesn't even warn him to stop doing that, by the way, so I guess they're trying to pull them away on purpose. I'm assuming that's what they were trying to do. Um, and as they make their way to another location that's pretty distant away, the guy stands next to the exit like an idiot and gets grabbed and pulled away, so he's dead. And by the look of the island from the attack, it looked like everyone else died, so I guess those two boys are just left alone in the closet. In the closet. But, I guess they're just there at the end of the movie, question mark? I don't know. The movie never cuts back to that, so I'm gonna take a wild guess and say that they're alive somehow at the end of the movie, but whatever. So he gets grabbed and pulled away, so that's the end of that guy. The mother, cut back to her. Um, she's like making her way back to cure something like an exit. Meanwhile, the daughter and the other guy make their way to a sound studio, like a recording studio. And there's a creature there, and they're making their way to the sound booth. The guy gets snagged, and he's like trying to survive it. the girl moves and the creature's like catching on to her. So she uses her sound device, except she plugs it into the microphone to amplify it on air. And she implied or told the brother to keep the radio on, to keep listening, and he has been the entire time, or when he had the headphones on, they were on. So his little thing goes off while there's a creature with them as well, with the mother and him and the baby. And so we see both of them, it cutting back and forth between both of them using their sound devices to push the creatures back and to grab the weapons that they had on them and to kill each creature respectively, taking one out each. And the movie suddenly cuts to black, and that was A Quiet Place Part 2. So, like I said, I think that the world building struggles a little bit in both movies. I feel like character decisions, particularly the son in this instance, is really stupid and has really stupid moments. And the mother gets like that one thing to do. We kind of really focus on the daughter a lot more, as well as this other guy. And yeah, it's hard to say, like, again, like, the world building feels a little bit more fumbly looking at these two movies together, because now, since it's a sequel, that's what I have to do, is consider what's in the first movie and try to try to piece it all together, if you will. And I think that's where this movie suffers the most, is having people making idiotic decisions is where this movie suffers, which, again, primarily seems to happen with the son character, which is unfortunate. And they both been through the situation before, so it's a lot harder to believe that he would make such decisions, especially with a baby, and even with the girl. Like, again, world building seems to be a little bit weird in this movie, where the other people are like, we're gonna do something. I don't know. I think I would give this movie the same exact score as the first movie. I feel like it's halfway, like a 5 out of 10 is the best I think I can give it. And again, it's the thing of, the idea is fascinating, like a movie has these creatures that, again, are really focused on sound and the smart things that they do in the movie as well. Because I'm not trying to say that, like, everything that they do is stupid. I'm just saying it did seem to be primarily focused on the boy character, which is unfortunate. Because he was in the first movie too, so I'm not sure why they would dumb him down. It seems to be what they did in this movie. So, I don't know. So yeah, I think I would give it like a 5 out of 10 at most. A few more flaws that prevent it from even being like a 6 out of 10. But again, it feels like half of it is like, oh, it's pretty smart, and then the other half is like, oh, it's really dumb, or it's not thought out well enough to make it that sound. Sound. Anyway, if you ended up enjoying this review for A Quiet Place Part 2, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, make sure to check out those links in the description. One will head over to my Discord server, the second to my Patreon page. Any donations are desperately needed, and until next time, everyone, bye-bye!